And just like magic, everybody is now on your screen. Everyone can see battling out tonight. So first off, welcome everybody to this week number 10, the last chance pod. You lose tonight, you're going home. You win, you're in that top 8, one step closer to the title, the trophy, the glory, the tweet, everything that comes along with it. More importantly, you get invited back for the next season. Let's be honest, that's the real big prize here. So we're going to ask you a couple of questions of how you got to these deck choices tonight. I'm going to kick it off. You, obviously, with the restrictions, some of you have played more weeks than others, which means that you've got more restrictions to some of the cards than other people playing this week. How much homework did you do into picking your deck choices this week, or did you just wing it? Starting with you, Mason.
Yeah, so I got a little lucky. I had to do a lot of work for No Banlist Modern, but it did mean all my kind of decks in that week were sort of, null and void. And so that little perk allowed me to be a little bit more free when it came to picking my decks for this week, but I still wanted to make sure that I was putting myself in a position to do well if I win this week's pod and advance to the top 8. So I decided to go with Yawgmoth. It's one of my favorite decks right now in Modern. I think it's quite good and a little bit underplayed. So I picked that, especially I was hoping to play against some energy players. As we'll learn later, that didn't happen today. And then I decided to play Through the Breach as my other deck, hoping to save energy for some of the top 8. Along with some of the other sort of better decks in Modern. Shows, two very good decks in my opinion, but we're trading some of the bullets for, the top 8.
Yes, it's interesting how you've got to weigh up. Okay, yes, I need to get to the top 8, but when I get to the top 8, I still need to actually have good playable decks because I need to get to the top 4. So it's again, we're using that deck breeding skills from all you players. Andreas, talk me through it. Why this deck? Why this week?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm impressed that Mason is focusing 2 steps ahead. Us mere mortals are focusing on tonight. So I gotta be honest, yesterday, my good friend from Italy, Pivo, tweeted out that he did well with a Scapeshift deck, and I was basically locked into that one for sure. So from there, it was just about finding out what deck can I fit in that doesn't have any crossover. And that's actually not true. I cut a Beseiju from the Scapeshift deck because that might come in handy in the top 8. So that's actually my foresight. So for my second deck, I've brought Sultai Crabvine, which just plays a lot of my favorite cards, and I think it just actually looks quite solid between the Flare of Denial edition specifically, and just Psychic Frog being Psychic Frog. So yeah, I'm incredibly excited to battle, and especially after seeing the other people's decks. Whew, this is going to be a great show.
Yeah, it's interesting. The Graveyard Hate, there's lots of it in Modern, but you kind of got to utilize it between which decks you bring. You got to bring 2 each week, then the different colors. We saw Martin do extremely well with Hollowvine. What was it? Hollow something?
Yep, that is the name.
Hollow Phoenix, Hollowvine. I don't know what Martin managed to do well with it last week, but something to do with Hollow One. That's all I remember. It was pretty sick to see it go off. So Ben, talk to me. These decks you've got, I would say the spiciest deck this week, but Martin's got a deck close to my heart. But you've got some spice this week. Talk us through it.
So last night, Andreas' good friend Pivo posted winning a league with Scapeshift, and I thought, wow, that looks pretty cool and good. And so I played it, and it did pretty well. I got to target people for 3 damage a pop and lock that in. Then the other deck, the Thoracle Selective Memory Goblin Charbelcher deck, I lost to it in some of the leagues that I was playing, and I was like, I can't believe I'm losing to this. And then I had to emergency change my deck because I did not follow the rules. And I was like, great, there's no overlap. I'm not going to miss Seagate Restoration. So I locked in that.
Yeah, it was interesting, to see how you flipped on it. But did you flip it on? And because you got the bad beat story, you want everyone else to have that bad beat story. I understand. Plus, it's pretty cool. Mine, my hero, not favoritism tonight or anything, but talk me through your decks tonight, my friend. You are muted. We will work on that in a second.
He's got it. In Ninja.
He might be. We're going to work on that in a second while we get through it. But Martin's going to tell you about 2 amazing decks. One that's extremely close to my heart. Right now, go, Martin.
I'm sorry, my apologies. So yesterday, my friend Pivo posted this deck list, right? And I thought everybody was going to play. No, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to play something fun. I just wanted to be I wanted to represent the everyday Magic guy that has a deck in this modern format that's supposed to be a format where you build a deck and you can play for the next 5 or 10 years, right? So I picked some decks that I always enjoyed playing, And yeah, I kind of want to see if they're still playable in this meta game. I didn't want to play the One Ring. I tried to find something fun, something different. I do have two pretty aggressive decks, which I think one of those decks, in fact, is going to be particularly good against a deck like Scapeshift.
Let's
Or
go.
against a deck like Breach, with a bunch of small creatures, pump spells, and hopefully a turn 3 kill. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
When we were talking offline, and I said about the One Ring, what did you reply to me?
I don't play 4 meta cards.
I was like, sold. I'm happy about that. That's cool. That is the aggro player that I want in my life. All right, next question is coming from Anu.
Yeah, so this is going to be less about this week and more about just, the modern RCQ system and things like that. Have you guys been playing any RCQs lately? Or if you had to register any of the decks for today or any decks like that? Mason, I think you had like recent success with one of the decks you're playing today, right? What would you... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I have both my invites already for this RC cycle. In the States, we now have 2. I got there playing a Pioneer RCQ with one of them in Phoenix, but then one last weekend playing Yawgmoth. Actually played against Sultai Vine in the finals, so maybe I'll get a little rehashing of that this week. We'll have to see. But no, the dog deck I think is great. It's been really cool to play the RCQs. I'm very happy with the way, I'm mostly happy with the way the DNR went, I should say. And I'm just, excited to be playing Modern again. It's a format I love, and it's been a lot of fun still.
Yeah, I guess rolling off of that, I'm gonna change the question a little bit to like, what would you play? I feel like there's like a very tight, compact metagame, and I'm looking for creative ways to attack it. So like what are the best decks right now? Like, you've got Energy, you've got Jeskai, you've got Eldrazi. Andreas, I'm gonna reframe that question and push it your way. If you wanted to attack this, what would you do? Would you pick any of the decks from today?
I think so. For me, MTGO Masters is a combination of being competitive and being entertaining. So I'm actually gonna say no. I would play something like Dimir Murktide because that deck just is right up my alley when it comes to the playstyle, and I kind of, via metagame analysis, I can kind of tweak my 75. So I would actually go about it that way and try and take it down if I had a must-win tournament lined up.
Okay. All right. Ben, you know what? I going along with this, I'm going to change the question up a little bit again. How do you feel about the current modern metagame, these few decks that I'm talking about? And I mean, honestly, like the last time you came here as well, you brought like a very outside the box deck. Is that just generally your approach? You play kind of like what Martin was saying earlier, just decks that are really fun and then you figure out the rest later?
It depends on the situation. I'm definitely a fan of the trenches of Magic Online leagues. And so in there, you can just kind of, it'd be really cool if I 5-0 with and, gesture to whatever pile you brought. But I don't know. I'm kind of addicted to Psychic Frog right now. That actually, the Dimmer Murktide list that Andreas was mentioning, it feels the most like a legacy list to me. And that is kind of what I would want to be doing, have you read Psychic Frog like that? It's so big. It's 2 mana.
Love it. And finally, Martin, I guess I'm going to run back the same question here for you too. Is if you had to pick a deck for this weekend, you played Hollow One, you played Infect, you're going to play Infect, you're going to play Merfolk today. What's your secret? What would you actually register for the RCQs that everyone else is trying to play in?
I actually spent the last week helping organize an RCQ. We're gonna run a double destination qualifier weekend in Prague, which is gonna have 8 slots each day. So the top 8 of each tournament is gonna qualify for the RC, and we have an RC in Prague in January. So this is an event we're doing for the community, basically. And if you show this event to a 15-year-old me, like, hey, there's 16 slots where you can qualify, almost the Pro Tour, I would have taken the train to Italy or wherever in the world that would be close to the Czech Republic. So I haven't really been playing too much Modern, but if I was playing, I think I'm at the point of my life where I'm kind of just looking to have fun. I want to play something fun. I would play something like Hollow One. Maybe I would even play Infect. Maybe I would play something like that. So there are probably better decks. You can play Necro. Necro is a deck that strikes me as particularly good. Obviously, without Grief, it's a little less powerful, but it still has Thoughtseize into Bowmasters into Necro, and you can't really go wrong with that.
Some people are saying that actually the Grief bans made the deck better in some instances. You're not
thing.
keeping as bad hands and stuff. So it's interesting to see how that's going to pan out. Also, Andreas, I'm really upset you didn't say Samwise. when that's the deck. There was a tournament in Europe at the weekend that Samwise combo won, which is pretty sick to see. But on that one, we got some magic tonight. We got some amazing decks that we want to see, and we want to see them in action. So we're going to let you all step off, get in the feature match here, and get set up. While me through the little bit of help that we've had to put on this season of MTGO Master.